The gunmen burst through the diner doors at exactly 2:47 a.m., their masks reflecting the fluorescent lights like demon faces in the night. Maya Rodriguez had just refilled the distinguished older man's tea, had just smiled at his quiet thank you, when she saw the glint of metal rising toward him. Her body moved before her mind could catch up. She threw herself across the booth, her arms spreading wide like wings trying to shield something precious. The sound came next, a crack that split the world in two, followed by fire blooming in her left shoulder. She heard screaming, distant and strange, before realizing it was coming from her own throat. The man beneath her, Mr. Kong, caught her as she crumpled. His eyes, sharp and dark, locked onto hers with an intensity that seemed to slow time itself. Behind him, two men in black suits materialized like shadows given form, their weapons drawn, their movements precise and deadly. The gunman didn't stand a chance. 3 shots, 3 bodies hitting the floor. The entire exchange lasted maybe 10 seconds. 10 seconds that rewrote Maya's entire existence. "Stay with me," Mr. Kong commanded, his hand pressing against her wound. His fingers were warm, steady, so different from her own trembling limbs. "You will not die for me. I will not allow it." Maya's vision blurred at the edges, darkness creeping in like spilled ink. She thought of Sophia, her 6-year-old daughter sleeping at her neighbor's apartment 3 blocks away. Sophia with her bright eyes and chronic illness that devoured every paycheck Maya earned. Sophia who needed her mother to wake up tomorrow. "My daughter," Maya gasped, blood coating her tongue with copper. "Please, my daughter." "I swear it," Mr. Kong said, and something in his voice made it sound like an oath written in stone. "On my honor, on my life, your daughter will never want for anything." Then the darkness swallowed her whole. Maya woke to softness. That was her first thought, floating up from unconsciousness like a body breaking the surface of deep water. Soft sheets against her skin, soft light filtering through cream curtains, soft classical music playing from somewhere she couldn't see. This wasn't County General Hospital where she'd taken Sophia 100 times, with its harsh lights and antiseptic smell and nurses who moved like they were running a marathon. This was something else entirely. "You're awake." The voice came from her right, accented and familiar. Maya turned her head, wincing at the pull in her shoulder, and found Mr. Kong sitting in a leather chair beside her bed. He looked different in the daylight streaming through the window. Older, maybe mid-50s, with silver threading through his black hair. But also solid, real, powerful in a way that had nothing to do with physical strength. A younger man stood behind him, arms crossed, jaw tight. He was younger, late 20s perhaps, devastatingly handsome in that sharp-edged way that seemed carved rather than born. His eyes, dark and intense, fixed on Maya with an expression she couldn't quite read. Anger? Curiosity? Something else entirely? "Where am I?" Maya's voice came out rough, broken glass over gravel. "Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, private wing," Mr. Kong answered, his English heavily accented but clear. "You have been unconscious for 18 hours. The bullet missed your major arteries, but you lost significant blood. The doctors say you will recover fully." Maya's hand flew to her chest, panic spiking through the medication haze. "Sophia? My daughter, where is?" 3 floors up in the pediatric wing, Mr. Kong interrupted gently. "Receiving treatment from the finest specialists in California. Her medication has been adjusted, her care plan optimized. She is asking for you, but she is safe and well." He paused, his gaze never leaving Maya's face. "I told you I would protect her. I keep my promises." The relief hit Maya so hard she started crying, great heaving sobs that made her shoulder scream in protest. She didn't care. Sophia was okay. Sophia was getting the care she needed, care Maya had been trying to afford for 3 years with double shifts and skipped meals and prayers that went unanswered until now. "Thank you," she choked out. "Thank you. I don't know how I'll ever repay." "You already did." Mr. Kang's voice cut through her tears like a blade, sharp and absolute. "You took a bullet meant for me. You, a stranger, chose to die so that I might live. In my world, Miss Rodriguez, that creates a debt that can never truly be repaid. But I will spend the rest of my life trying." The younger man behind Mr. Kong shifted, his jaw clenching tighter. Maya caught the movement, saw the way his hands flexed at his sides like he was fighting the urge to speak. "This is my son," Mr. Kong said, gesturing backward without turning. "Kong Minjun. He manages our family's business operations." Minjun gave a slight bow, formal and cold. "Miss Rodriguez." His English was perfect, barely accented, his voice smooth like expensive whiskey. But his eyes remained hard, assessing her like she was a problem he needed to solve. "Would you throw yourself in front of a bullet for someone you just met?" Comment below and hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will change everything. Maya tried to sit up straighter, wincing as pain lanced through her shoulder. Minjun moved forward instinctively, his hand reaching out as if to steady her, then stopping midair like he'd caught himself doing something wrong. He stepped back, face carefully blank. Miss Rodriguez, Mr. Kong continued, leaning forward in his chair. I must ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. Did you know who I was when you protected me? Maya shook her head, confused by the intensity in his voice. You were just a customer. A nice one who asked about my daughter's picture and left good tips. She paused, studying his face. Should I have known who you are? Something passed between father and son, a look laden with meaning Maya couldn't decipher. Mr. Kong sat back, and for the first time since she'd woken, he smiled. It wasn't a happy smile exactly, more like relief mixed with something sadder. No, you should not have. That makes what you did even more extraordinary. I don't understand, Maya said. Her head felt foggy from whatever medication they had her on, and nothing about this situation made sense. The private room that probably cost more per night than she made in a month. The armed guard she glimpsed outside her door. The way Minjun watched her like she was a grenade with the pin pulled. My father, Minjun spoke for the first time since his introduction, his voice carrying an edge that could cut glass, is Kong Daesung. He runs one of the largest import-export operations in Los Angeles. Our family has significant influence in Koreatown and beyond. The way he said it, the careful emphasis on certain words, made Maya's stomach drop. She'd worked in Koreatown long enough to understand what wasn't being said. Import-export could mean many things. Significant influence was a phrase people used when they meant power that didn't come from normal business channels. You're telling me I saved a criminal, Maya said flatly. Mr. Kang's laugh was sharp and short. I am telling you that you saved a man who protects his community and his family. Sometimes that requires operating in spaces the law does not reach. But I am not a monster, Miss Rodriguez. I do not deal in drugs or human trafficking. I do not prey on the weak. I am simply a businessman who understands that in this world, real power comes from loyalty and respect, not from pieces of paper signed by bureaucrats. Maya wanted to be angry, wanted to feel betrayed that this man she'd almost died for was involved in organized crime. But when she looked at his face, she saw only honesty and a strange kind of honor that seemed as real as the pain in her shoulder. And now you feel you owe me. I do not feel it. I know it. Mr. Kong stood, walking to the window where early morning light painted the city gold. In Korean tradition, a life debt is sacred. You are now under my protection, whether you want it or not. Your daughter's medical care, your living expenses, everything you need will be provided. This is not charity. This is honor. I don't want your money, Maya said, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. I just want to know Sophia will be okay. Help her get well, help me pay for her treatment, and we'll call it even. Minjun made a sound, something between a laugh and a scoff. You think it's that simple? You think you can just walk away after what happened? Minjun, Mr. Kong said sharply, a warning in his tone. But his son ignored him, stepping closer to Maya's bed. Those men who came to kill my father? They know someone saved him. They know a black woman threw herself in front of their bullets. Do you understand what that means? Maya's mouth went dry. They'll come after me. They'll come after you and your daughter, Minjun said. And now she could identify the emotion in his eyes. Fear. He was afraid for her. My father's enemies don't leave loose ends. You're not just a witness. You're a symbol. You showed loyalty to our family, which makes you a target. The room seemed to tilt. Maya gripped the bedsheets, her knuckles going white. Then what am I supposed to do? I can't fight criminals. I'm a waitress. I'm just trying to raise my daughter and keep her alive. That is why I have a proposition. Mr. Kong turned from the window, his expression grave. It is unconventional, perhaps even shocking to American sensibilities. But it is the only way I can guarantee your safety and honor my debt to you. Maya looked between father and son, seeing the tension in both their faces. What kind of proposition? Mr. Kong took a deep breath. I want you to marry my son. The words hung in the air like smoke, thick and impossible to wave away. Maya stared at him, certain she'd misheard, certain the pain medication was making her hallucinate. You want me to what? Marry Minjun, Mr. Kong repeated calmly, as if he'd just suggested she stay for dinner. As my daughter-in-law, you would have the full protection of our family name. No one would dare touch you or Sophia. You would have resources, security, a future for your child. And I would fulfill my obligation to you in the most honorable way our culture recognizes. This is insane, Maya breathed. You can't just arrange marriages like it's the 18th century. And what about him? She gestured at Minjun, who stood frozen, his face a mask of controlled fury. Does he get a say in who he marries? My son understands duty, Mr. Kong said, but his eyes flickered to Minjun with something that looked like apology. He knows that family comes before personal preference. This marriage would solve multiple problems. It would protect you, honor my debt, and strengthen our family's image. My enemies would see that we value loyalty above all else. Maya couldn't believe what she was hearing. She'd woken up expecting to be handed a bill she couldn't pay and instead found herself in the middle of some twisted Godfather situation. I'm not marrying a stranger. I'm not marrying anyone. This is ridiculous. Is it more ridiculous than dying because you can't afford protection? Minjun's voice was quiet but sharp. He'd moved to the foot of her bed, his hands gripping the rail. My father is trying to save your life. You might not like the method, but it's effective. Maya met his gaze, saw the resentment simmering there beneath the surface. You don't want this either. I can see it all over your face. What I want is irrelevant, Minjun said coldly. What matters is keeping my family safe and honoring my father's obligations. If that means marrying someone I don't know for the sake of duty, then that's what I'll do. How noble of you. Maya shot back, anger flooding through her veins. Sacrificing yourself for the poor little waitress who can't take care of herself. That's not what Minjun started, but Mr. Kong raised his hand. Enough. Both of you. He looked at Maya with something softer in his eyes. Miss Rodriguez, I am not asking for your answer now. You've been through trauma. You need time to heal, to think, to understand the situation fully. Take a few days. See your daughter. Let me show you what kind of life I'm offering. Then decide. And if I say no? Maya asked. Mr. Kang's expression darkened. Then I will provide you with money and security to the best of my ability. But I cannot guarantee your safety. My enemies are watching. They know you exist. The moment you leave my protection, you become vulnerable. He paused. I have already lost one woman I cared about to this life. I will not lose another if I can prevent it. The raw pain in his voice made Maya's anger deflate slightly. This wasn't just about honor or debt. This man genuinely believed she was in danger, and maybe he was right. She thought about Sophia, about tucking her in at night, about all the time she'd promised her baby girl that everything would be okay. How could she keep that promise if someone put a bullet in her head? I want to see my daughter, Maya said finally. And then I want the truth. All of it. What you really do, who wants you dead, what I'm actually getting into if I agree to this insanity. Mr. Kong nodded. That is fair. Minjun will stay with you. Answer any questions you have. I must attend to business, but I will return this evening. He moved toward the door, then paused. Miss Rodriguez, I know this seems cruel and archaic, but in my world, this is how we protect those we value. Whether you believe it or not, you are valued now. After he left, silence filled the room like water rising. Maya stared at the ceiling, trying to process everything, while Minjun remained at the foot of her bed, still gripping the rail like it was the only thing keeping him grounded. You can leave too, Maya said after a long moment. I don't need a babysitter. I'm not leaving. Minjun pulled a chair closer and sat down, crossing his arms. Someone needs to make sure you don't do something stupid like try to run. Why would I run? I can barely walk. Because people in panic make irrational decisions. His eyes studied her face. And you're panicking, even if you're hiding it well. Maya hated that he was right. Her heart was racing, her palms sweating despite the cool air conditioning. Your father wants me to marry you. I think panic is a reasonable response. Agreed. Minjun leaned back in his chair, and for the first time, some of the hardness left his face. He looked tired, she realized. Exhausted in a way that went deeper than just lack of sleep. For what it's worth, I didn't know he was going to propose this. He told me after you were in surgery, presented it as already decided. And you just went along with it? What choice did I have? Minjun's laugh was bitter. My father saved my life when I was 17. Pulled me out of a gang situation that would have killed me. He gave me purpose, education, a future. I owe him everything. So when he says he needs me to marry someone to honor a debt and protect our family, I don't get to say no. Maya softened slightly, hearing the trapped note in his voice. We're both prisoners in this, aren't we? Prisoners with very nice accommodations, Minjun said dryly. But yes, prisoners. They sat in silence for a moment, two strangers bound together by circumstance and bullets and an old man's sense of honor. Finally, Maya spoke. Tell me about yourself. If I'm supposed to consider marrying you, I should at least know who you are. Minjun raised an eyebrow. What do you want to know? Everything. Start with why you sound like you were born in California, but your father sounds like he just got off the plane from Seoul. A ghost of a smile touched Minjun's lips. Because I was born here. My father immigrated when he was 16 with nothing but the clothes on his back and a cousin's address in Koreatown. He built everything from scratch, started with a small grocery store, and expanded into import-export. By the time I was born, he was already powerful, already connected. And your mother? The smile vanished. Dead. Cancer, when I was 12. After that, my father threw himself into work, into building an empire he said would protect me from ever being vulnerable again. Minjun's jaw tightened. But empires need heirs. I was groomed from childhood to take over. Business school at USC, internships with our family operations, learning both the legitimate and illegitimate sides of what we do. Do you want it? Maya asked. The empire, I mean. Minjun was quiet for a long time. I don't know anymore. When I was younger, yes. It felt exciting, powerful. But now I see what it costs. The violence, the constant watching over your shoulder, the way you can't trust anyone outside the family. My father lost the woman he loved to this life. And now he's trying to drag you into it too. He thinks he's saving me. Maybe he is, Minjun admitted. The people who tried to kill him tonight, they're part of a rival organization run by a man named Choi Sang-min. He's been trying to take over my father's territory for years. Ruthless doesn't even begin to describe him. If he finds out you're unprotected, just some waitress who happened to be in the wrong place. He trailed off, but Maya heard the unspoken words. You and your daughter will disappear. Fear coiled in Maya's stomach. So my choices are marry a stranger or risk my daughter's life. Or take my father's money and run, Minjun said. Leave California, change your names, start over somewhere far away. Can you imagine being forced to choose between marrying a stranger or running for your life? Drop a comment with what you do and make sure to subscribe to see what Maya decides. Maya shook her head immediately. Sophia's doctors are here. Her treatment plan is finally working after 3 years of trial and error. Moving her now, disrupting her care, it could kill her faster than any gangster. She looked at Minjun, really looked at him. Beneath the expensive suit and the cold exterior, she saw someone as trapped as she was. If I agree to this, what would it actually look like? A real marriage or just paperwork? Minjun straightened in his chair, and Maya noticed the way his shoulders tensed. My father would expect it to appear real. We'd live together at the family estate, attend events as a couple, present a united front. But behind closed doors, it could be whatever we agree to. Separate rooms, separate lives. A business arrangement. And when it's safe? When whoever Choi is gives up or gets arrested, or whatever happens to make the threat go away. Then we divorce quietly. Minjun's voice was matter of fact, like they were discussing a contract negotiation. You'd get a settlement, enough to take care of Sophia for life. My father's guilt would be satisfied, you'd be secure, and we'd both be free. It sounded so simple when he said it like that. A temporary sacrifice for permanent security. But Maya had learned long ago that nothing was ever as simple as it seemed. What about dating? What if you meet someone you actually want to be with? Minjun's expression flickered with something she couldn't name. I don't date. My lifestyle doesn't allow for normal relationships. Most women either want me for my money or run screaming when they figure out what my family really does. He paused. What about you? Boyfriend waiting somewhere. Sophia's father left when I told him I was pregnant, Maya said flatly. Haven't had time or energy for dating since. Between working 2 jobs and taking care of a sick child, romance wasn't exactly a priority. Then we're both conveniently unattached. Minjun stood, walking to the window where his father had stood earlier. Look, I know this is insane. I know you didn't ask for any of this. But my father is right about one thing. You saved his life, and in our world, that means something. It means everything. Maya watched him, silhouetted against the morning light. Do you resent me? For saving him? For creating this situation? Minjun turned, and the honesty in his face surprised her. I resented you at first. When he told me his plan, all I could think was that some stranger had just derailed my entire life. But then I saw the security footage from the diner. His voice dropped. You didn't hesitate. Those men came in, and you just moved. You didn't know my father was worth millions, didn't know saving him would get you anything except probably dead. You just saw someone in danger and acted. That's what decent people do, Maya said quietly. No, it's not. Minjun shook his head. Decent people freeze. Decent people duck for cover. Decent people choose their own survival over a stranger's. What you did was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. My mother always said I had more heart than sense. A real smile crossed Minjun's face this time, small but genuine. She sounds like a wise woman. She was. Cancer took her when Sophia was 2. Maya felt the familiar ache of loss. I think she'd have liked this situation even less than I do. She raised me to be independent, to never rely on a man for security. Then don't think of it as relying on me, Minjun said, coming back to sit down. Think of it as a strategic partnership. You provide legitimacy and prove my family values loyalty. I provide protection and resources. Neither of us has to like it. We just have to make it work long enough to solve the problem. Before Maya could respond, a knock sounded at the door. A nurse entered, followed by a small whirlwind of pink pajamas and dark curls. Mommy. Sophia. Maya's heart nearly burst as her daughter ran to the bed. The nurse helped lift Sophia up carefully, mindful of Maya's injury. Maya wrapped her good arm around her baby, breathing in the familiar scent of her strawberry shampoo. Oh baby, I'm so glad to see you. The nice man said you were sleeping a lot, Sophia said, pulling back to study Maya's face with those serious brown eyes. He said you got hurt, but the doctors fixed you. That's right, sweetheart. I'm okay now. Maya kissed her forehead. How are you feeling? Are the new doctors taking good care of you? Sophia nodded enthusiastically. They gave me different medicine that tastes like grape instead of yucky. And my room has a TV that plays cartoons all day. And there's a playroom with so many toys. She paused, her expression becoming shy. Mommy, are we rich now? The question hit Maya like a punch. She glanced at Minjun, who had stood and moved back, giving them space but watching with an unreadable expression. No, baby. We're just getting help from some kind people. Mr. Kong is really nice, Sophia said. He came to see me and brought me a stuffed tiger. He said tigers are brave like me. Her eyes shifted to Minjun. Are you his son? You look like him but younger. Minjun moved closer, and Maya was surprised to see his expression soften completely. I am. My name is Minjun. You must be Sophia. That's me. Sophia beamed. Did you know my mommy is a hero? She saves people. I heard about that, Minjun said quietly. Your mother is very brave. Sophia reached out and grabbed Minjun's hand with the casual fearlessness of children. Will you make sure the bad people don't hurt my mommy? She's the only mommy I have. Maya watched Minjun's face transform. The cold mask cracked, revealing something vulnerable underneath. He crouched down to Sophia's level, his large hand engulfing her small one. I promise. No one will hurt your mother. Pinky promise? Sophia held out her pinky finger. Minjun hooked his pinky with hers solemnly. Pinky promise. Sophia smiled, satisfied, then turned back to Maya. Mommy, can we stay here? I like it here. The nurses are nice, and they don't make that sad face when they look at me. The sad face. Maya knew exactly what her daughter meant. The look people gave when they saw a sick child, that mixture of pity and relief that it wasn't their kid. The look that had followed Sophia since her diagnosis. We'll see, baby. For now, you just focus on getting better. The nurse stepped forward. I'm sorry, but Sophia needs to get back for her next round of treatment. Sophia hugged Maya one more time, careful of her shoulder. Love you, mommy. Feel better. Love you more, baby. After they left, silence filled the room again. Maya wiped at her eyes, not caring that Minjun could see her crying. She likes it here. She's happy. I haven't seen her this happy in months. Minjun returned to his chair, but his posture had changed. He looked less like a man forced into duty and more like someone who'd just understood the stakes. She's a good kid. She's everything, Maya said fiercely. Every choice I make, every sacrifice, it's all for her. That's why I can't just pack up and run. That's why I can't risk her safety by refusing your father's protection. She met his eyes. That's why I'll marry you if it means she gets to grow up. Minjun nodded slowly. Then we understand each other. Do we? Maya challenged. Because I need you to understand something. I'll play whatever role your father needs me to play in public. I'll be the grateful bride, the loyal daughter-in-law, whatever. But Sophia comes first. Always. If your world ever threatens her, if this life you live ever puts her in danger, I'll take her and disappear so fast you won't even see the dust. Fair enough, Minjun said. And you need to understand something too. Once you're in this family, you're in it. There are rules, expectations, things you'll need to learn. It won't be easy. Nothing about my life has been easy, Maya shot back. I worked 3 jobs while pregnant and homeless. I've slept in my car so Sophia could have a roof over her head. I've donated plasma for grocery money. Whatever your family throws at me, I've survived worse. Respect flickered across Minjun's face. I believe you. He stood, straightening his suit jacket. I need to check on some business, but I'll be back this evening with my father. Use today to rest. Think about what you want from this arrangement. Tomorrow, if you agree, we'll start making preparations. How long until the wedding? Maya asked, still struggling to believe this was real. A week, maybe 2. Korean tradition requires certain ceremonies, but given the circumstances, we'll keep it small. Immediate family, essential associates. Enough to make it legitimate without turning it into a spectacle. After Minjun left, Maya lay back against the pillows, exhaustion washing over her. Her shoulder throbbed, a constant reminder of how her life had fractured into before and after. Before the bullet, she'd been struggling but free. After the bullet, she was safe but trapped. Was it even a real choice when one option meant potential death and the other meant security? She thought about her mother, about the fierce independence she'd instilled in Maya from childhood. Never let a man define you. Never give up your power. But her mother had also taught her that a smart woman knows when to be flexible, when to adapt to survive. Maybe this was one of those times. Maybe marrying Minjun wasn't giving up her power, but using it strategically. The door opened again, and a woman entered carrying a tray of food. She was older, maybe 60, with kind eyes and gray-streaked hair pulled back in a neat bun. Miss Rodriguez, I am Mrs. Park. Mr. Kong has asked me to look after you during your recovery. Thank you, but I don't need looking after, Maya said automatically. Mrs. Park smiled, setting the tray on the bedside table. Everyone needs looking after sometimes. It is not weakness to accept help. She began arranging the food, traditional Korean dishes that smelled amazing. I have worked for the Kong family for 20 years. I knew Min-jun when he was just a boy getting into trouble. Maya sat up straighter, intrigued. What was he like? Angry, Mrs. Park said simply. His mother died, his father buried himself in work, and Min-jun acted out. Got involved with bad people, nearly destroyed his life before he was old enough to vote. She poured tea into a delicate cup. But Mr. Kong pulled him back, showed him a better path. Min-jun owes his father everything, which is why he will do whatever is asked of him, even marry a stranger. He told you about that? Everyone in the family knows. Mr. Kong does not make decisions in isolation. Mrs. Park handed Maya the teacup. There is much gossip, much speculation about you. Some are pleased, others concerned. A few are angry. Let me guess, Maya said. They think I'm some gold digger taking advantage of the situation. Some think that, yes. Others see you as a problem, a complication in already complicated times. Mrs. Park met her eyes. But I saw the security footage. I saw what you did. That was not the action of someone calculating advantage. That was pure instinct, pure heart. Maya sipped the tea, surprised by how soothing it was. Mrs. Park, can I ask you something honestly? Am I making a mistake? Should I just take whatever money they offer and run? The older woman was quiet for a long moment, her hands folded in her lap. I cannot answer that for you. But I can tell you this. The Kong family is complicated, yes. They live in shadows, yes. But they are also loyal, protective, honorable in their own way. If you become part of this family, you will never want for anything. Your daughter will have the best care, the best education, the best opportunities. You will have protection that extends beyond just bodyguards. You will have a place to belong. At what cost? Your freedom, in some ways. Your privacy, certainly. Your old life, completely. Mrs. Park leaned forward. But perhaps your old life was not so good that it's worth dying to keep? The blunt question made Maya laugh despite herself. You don't pull punches, do you? At my age, there is no point in pretty lies. Mrs. Park smiled. Eat now. You need strength for what comes next. Over the next few days, Maya's life became a strange blur of hospital routines mixed with glimpses of the world she was about to enter. Mr. Kong visited daily, bringing gifts for Sophia and treating Maya with a formal respect that felt almost paternal. Min-jun came and went, sometimes staying for hours, sometimes just checking in. They talked about logistics, about the cover story they'd tell people, about the arrangements being made. The estate has a separate wing, Min-jun explained during one visit. You and Sophia will have your own space. 5 bedrooms, private living area, kitchen if you want to cook for yourself. We'll share common areas for appearances, but you'll have privacy. What about Sophia's medical care? Already arranged. Dr. Chun, one of the top pediatric specialists in the country, will oversee her treatment personally. Home nursing staff, when needed, transport to appointments, everything. It all sounded too good to be true, which made Maya suspicious. What's the catch? There's always a catch. Min-jun leaned back in his chair, studying her. The catch is that you'll see things you can't unsee. You'll know things you can't unknow. My father runs legitimate businesses, yes, but also operations that exist in legal gray areas. Import-export sometimes means moving goods that customs doesn't approve. Protection services sometimes mean collecting debts in ways police wouldn't sanction. You'll meet people who've done terrible things. You'll attend events where half the room is connected to organized crime. Would you marry into a crime family to save your child? Comment below and subscribe to find out if Maya can survive in this dangerous new world. Can I pretend I don't know? Maya asked. Just focus on Sophia and ignore the rest. You can try, Min-jun said. But ignorance won't protect you if something goes wrong. It's better to understand the world you're entering, to know who to trust and who to avoid. I can teach you if you let me. Teach me to be a criminal's wife. Teach you to survive, Min-jun corrected. There's a difference. On the 5th day, Dr. Chun came to discuss Sophia's progress. Maya sat in her daughter's hospital room, watching Sophia color in a princess book, while the doctor reviewed charts with the careful precision of someone delivering important news. The new medication protocol is showing excellent results, Dr. Chun said. Sophia's blood work has improved significantly. Her energy levels are up, inflammation markers are down. If this continues, we're looking at a very positive prognosis. Maya felt tears spring to her eyes. She's going to be okay? I never make absolute promises, but yes, I believe she's going to be okay. With proper ongoing care, regular monitoring, and continued treatment, Sophia should be able to live a relatively normal life. Dr. Chin smiled. She's a fighter, your daughter. After the doctor left, Maya pulled Sophia into a careful hug, mindful of the 4 lines. You hear that, baby? You're getting better. I told you the great medicine works, Sophia said seriously. Can we stay here forever, Mommy? I like it here. We're not staying at the hospital forever, but we're going to a new house. A really big house with gardens and your own room. Sophia's eyes went wide. My own room? Not shared with you. Maya laughed through her tears. Your own room. And mine will be right next to yours, so I can still check on you at night. Will Mr. Kong be there? And Minjun? Yes, they'll be there too. We're going to be living with them for a while. Sophia considered this, her small face scrunched in concentration. Like a family? Maya's heart clenched. Something like that, sweetheart. Good, Sophia declared. I like them. Minjun is funny when he doesn't think anyone's watching. He made faces at me yesterday when the nurse was being boring. That surprised Maya. She'd only seen Minjun's serious side, the controlled businessman who treated everything like a negotiation. He made faces at you? Uh-huh. And he knows all about tigers because that's his favorite animal too. He says tigers are strong and protect their families no matter what. Sophia went back to coloring. I think he'll be a good big brother. Maya didn't have the heart to explain that Minjun wouldn't be her brother. That conversation could wait until Sophia was older, until she could understand the complicated truth of their arrangement. That evening, Mr. Kong arrived with Minjun and another man Maya hadn't met before. He was younger than Minjun, maybe 25, with sharp features and an expression that radiated hostility. This is Kong Junho, my brother's son, Mr. Kong introduced. My nephew and second in command of our operations. Junho gave a curt nod, his eyes raking over Maya with undisguised contempt. So you're the waitress who thinks she can join our family. Junho, Mr. Kang's voice carried warning. What? We're supposed to pretend this is normal. Junho crossed his arms. She's a stranger. She doesn't know our culture, our language, our ways. How is she supposed to be any kind of asset to this family? She took a bullet for me, Mr. Kong said coldly. What have you sacrificed lately? Junho's jaw clenched, but he fell silent. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Maya could feel the resentment rolling off him in waves. This was the catch Mrs. Park had hinted at. Not everyone in the Kong family was happy about this arrangement. If you have something to say to me, say it, Maya addressed Junho directly. Don't talk around me like I'm not here. Junho's eyes narrowed. Fine. I think this is a mistake. I think you're going to be a liability. You don't understand our world, you don't understand the threats we face, and you're going to get people killed with your ignorance. Then educate me, Maya shot back. You want me to understand? Teach me. You want me to not be a liability? Show me how to be an asset. Or you can keep standing there being angry about a situation none of us chose. Silence fell. Junho stared at her like he was trying to decide if she was brave or stupid. Finally, a grudging hint of respect crossed his face. You've got spine at least. That's something. Junho will be overseeing your security detail, Mr. Kong said, moving past the confrontation. He's the best we have. Trust him to keep you safe, even if you don't like each other. I can work with that, Maya said, looking at Junho. Can you? I follow orders, Junho replied, even when I think they're wrong. After Junho left, Mr. Kong settled into the chair beside Maya's bed. You handled that well. Junho has been with us since he was 15, after his father died in a territorial dispute. He's loyal, but he's protective of this family in ways that sometimes make him harsh with outsiders. He wanted to marry Minjun, didn't he? Maya guessed. Not romantically, but he wanted some kind of alliance marriage that would strengthen the family's position. Mr. Kang's eyebrows rose. You are perceptive. Yes, there were discussions about Minjun marrying the daughter of an allied family. Junho pushed hard for it. He sees your sudden appearance as disrupting carefully laid plans. So I've made an enemy before I've even officially joined the family. Junho will come around, Minjun interjected. He always does. He just needs time to see that you're serious about this, that you're not going to fold at the first sign of trouble. Speaking of which, Mr. Kong pulled out an envelope. We need to discuss the wedding itself. We'll hold it at the estate in 1 week. Small ceremony, traditional elements mixed with Western to honor both cultures. You'll need a dress, preparations, lessons in basic Korean etiquette. Maya took the envelope, finding detailed plans inside. This is really happening. Unless you've changed your mind, Mr. Kong said gently. You still have the choice to walk away. It will be harder to protect you, but we will try. Maya thought about Sophia's improved test results. About the fear in her daughter's eyes whenever she'd been sick before. About the nights Maya had stayed awake wondering if she'd wake up to find Sophia not breathing. About the future she could give her child if she just said yes to this insane arrangement. I haven't changed my mind, Maya said. Let's do this. The next few days passed in a whirlwind. Maya was discharged from the hospital and moved directly to the Kong estate, a sprawling property in the hills above Los Angeles. The main house was a stunning blend of traditional Korean architecture and modern luxury, with curved roof lines and clean lines, gardens with cherry trees and koi ponds, and views that stretched all the way to the ocean. Mrs. Park showed Maya and Sophia to their wing, and Maya had to fight to keep her jaw from dropping. Minjun hadn't been exaggerating. 5 bedrooms, each larger than her entire apartment had been. A living room with floor-to-ceiling windows. A kitchen with appliances she didn't even know how to use. Sophia's room was painted soft purple with a window seat and built-in bookshelves and a canopy bed that made her squeal with delight. "Mommy, this is like a castle." Sophia spun in circles. "Am I a princess now?" "You've always been a princess, baby," Maya said, her throat tight with emotion. "Now you just have a room that matches." That night, after Sophia fell asleep in her princess bed, Maya stood at the window of her own room, staring out at the glittering city below. A knock at the door made her turn. Minjun stood in the doorway, changed from his suit into casual clothes, jeans, and a black t-shirt that made him look younger, more approachable. "Settling in?" he asked. "Trying to process that this is real," Maya admitted. "5 days ago, I was serving coffee at a diner. Now I'm living in a mansion and about to marry a man I barely know." Minjun stepped inside, maintaining a respectful distance. "I know it's overwhelming. For what it's worth, I'm trying to process it too. I thought I'd marry for business eventually, some arranged match my father approved. I just didn't think it would happen like this." "Did you ever want to marry for love?" Maya asked. The question seemed to catch him off guard. He was quiet for a moment, staring out the window beside her. "When I was younger, maybe. Before I really understood what my life would be. But love is a luxury people like me can't afford. It makes you vulnerable, gives enemies leverage. Better to keep things transactional. That's a lonely way to live." "It's a safe way to live," Minjun corrected. "My father loved my mother completely. When she died, it nearly destroyed him. He became reckless, made mistakes that cost lives. I watched him almost lose everything because his heart was broken. I promised myself I'd never give anyone that kind of power over me." Maya heard the pain beneath his words, the fear he was trying to pass off as wisdom. "So you're going to spend your whole life alone? Never let anyone in, never risk feeling something real?" "I have my family. I have loyalty, duty, purpose. That's enough." "Is it?" Maya challenged. "Because from where I'm standing, you look just as trapped as I am." Minjun turned to face her fully, something flickering in his dark eyes. "Maybe we're both trapped, but at least we're trapped together. That counts for something." Before Maya could respond, his phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression hardened. "I have to go. There's a situation that needs handling." "The kind of situation I don't want to know about?" "The kind that keeps you and Sophia safe," Minjun said. "Get some rest. Tomorrow starts your etiquette lessons with Mrs. Park. You need to learn how to navigate Korean social dynamics before the wedding." After he left, Maya climbed into her enormous bed, but sleep wouldn't come. She kept thinking about what Minjun had said, about love being a luxury and vulnerability being dangerous. She thought about her own fears, about letting someone in after Sophia's father had abandoned them. Maybe she and Minjun weren't so different after all. Maybe they were both people who'd learned that protection meant walls, and walls meant loneliness. The next morning, Mrs. Park arrived at 7 sharp with tea and a determined expression. "Today we begin your education. Sit." For the next 4 hours, Maya learned more about Korean culture than she'd absorbed in 3 years of working in Koreatown. How to bow properly, the different levels of formality and language, the importance of age and hierarchy, the subtle signals of respect and disrespect. Mrs. Park was a patient but demanding teacher, correcting Maya's posture, her hand positions, her tone. "At the wedding, you will meet many important people," Mrs. Park explained. "Other family heads, business associates, community leaders. They will be watching you, judging whether you're worthy of the Kong name. You must show strength, dignity, and proper respect." "No pressure," Maya muttered. "Very much pressure," Mrs. Park said seriously. "But I believe you can handle it. You have survived worse, yes? You can survive this too." In the afternoon, a stylist arrived with dress options. Maya stood in front of a mirror while woman after woman held up traditional Korean hanboks and modern wedding gowns. Finally, they settled on a fusion design, a white dress with traditional Korean embroidery and a modern silhouette. It was beautiful, elegant, and made Maya feel like she was playing dress-up in someone else's life. Junho appeared during the fitting, leaning against the doorframe with his arms crossed. Looking the part, at least. "Did you come here to insult me, or do you have an actual purpose?" Maya asked, tired of his attitude. "I came to give you this." He tossed a small device onto the table. "Panic button. You press it, hold for 3 seconds, and security comes running. Keep it on you always." Maya picked up the device, which looked like an expensive piece of jewelry, a pendant on a delicate chain. "You really think I'll need this?" "I think Choi Sang-min has been unusually quiet since the attack on my uncle, which means he's planning something. I think you're a visible target and a statement waiting to be made. So yes, I think you'll need it." Junho's expression was serious now, all mockery gone. "I don't like you. I don't trust you. But you're going to be family, which means protecting you is my job. Don't make that job harder by being careless." "I have a 6-year-old daughter," Maya said quietly. "I'm never careless." Something shifted in Junho's face. The kid with the medical issues. How's she doing? Better. The treatment here is working. Junho nodded slowly. Then maybe this arrangement isn't completely terrible. At least someone benefits. He turned to leave, then paused. The wedding night, there's usually expectations. Traditional families consummate immediately to prove the marriage is legitimate. But Minjun won't force anything. He has many faults, but that's not one of them. Just so you know what to expect. After he left, Maya sat down heavily, the panic button pendant heavy in her hand. The wedding night. She hadn't even thought about that aspect, had been so focused on the immediate problems that she'd ignored what came after. Minjun had said separate rooms, separate lives, but what would his family expect? What would they demand as proof that this marriage was real? That evening, she found Minjun in his office, a modern space filled with monitors and paperwork. He looked up when she knocked, waving her inside. Junho gave me this. Maya held up the pendant and warned me about wedding night expectations. Minjun's jaw tightened. Junho needs to learn when to keep his mouth shut. So there are expectations. There are always expectations in traditional families. But what happens between us is our business, not theirs. Minjun stood, walking around his desk. Maya, I told you this would be a business arrangement. I meant it. I'm not going to touch you unless you want me to. Whatever we do or don't do, that's between us. Anyone who has a problem with it can take it up with me. The firmness in his voice, the respect in his eyes, made something in Maya's chest unclench. Thank you. I just needed to hear you say it. You'll hear it as many times as you need. Minjun studied her face. This is already hard enough without adding pressure you don't want. We fake it in public, we're honest in private. That's the deal. Speaking of public, Maya said, your father mentioned I'd meet important people at the wedding. Who exactly am I going to be smiling at while pretending everything is normal? Minjun pulled out a file, spreading photos across his desk. These are the key players you need to recognize. Park Jae-sung. He runs distribution networks in San Francisco. Kim Yoon-ho, legitimate real estate developer who occasionally helps us launder money. Lee Mi-sun. She controls most of the Korean spa and salon businesses in Southern California. He pointed to each photo. Friendly faces, useful allies, people who'll judge you but won't actively try to hurt you. Can you imagine memorizing the faces of criminals at your own wedding? Hit that like button and subscribe because Maya's new life is about to get even more complicated. And the ones who will try to hurt me? Maya asked. Minjun's expression darkened. He pulled out another photo, this one of a man in his 50s with cold eyes and a cruel mouth. Choi Sang-min. He won't come to the wedding, but his people will be watching. He's been trying to take over our territory for 5 years. The attack on my father was his third attempt. He sees any sign of weakness as an opportunity. And me being here is a sign of weakness. To him, yes. A Korean family head marrying his son off to an outsider, to a black woman with no connections or power base. It looks like desperation. Like we couldn't secure a proper alliance marriage. Minjun's voice was matter of fact, but Maya heard the underlying anger. He'll use it against us, spread rumors, try to turn other families against us. So, I need to prove I'm not weak. You need to prove you belong. There's a difference. Minjun gathered the photos back up. Choi will test you eventually. Maybe through insults at a public event, maybe through threats against Sophia, maybe through violence. We can't predict when or how. We just have to be ready. Maya's hand instinctively went to the panic button pendant now hanging around her neck. How do you live like this? Always waiting for the next attack, never trusting anyone. You get used to it, Minjun said, but his eyes told a different story. He looked tired, worn down by the constant vigilance. After my mother died and I got mixed up with gangs, I saw real violence. I saw what happens when you're not prepared, not protected. My father pulled me out of that world, but the lessons stayed. Trust is a luxury. Paranoia keeps you alive. That's no way to live. It's the only way I know. Minjun closed the file. But you don't have to live that way. You can keep some distance from all of this. Focus on Sophia. Build the life you want within these walls. I'll handle the dangerous parts. We're supposed to be partners, Maya reminded him. You said this was a strategic partnership. Partners don't hide things from each other. Minjun stared at her for a long moment, something unreadable crossing his face. Most people in your position would be happy to stay ignorant. Why do you want to know the ugly truth? Because ignorance didn't protect my mother from cancer. Ignorance didn't keep Sophia's father from leaving. Ignorance just makes you a victim when bad things happen. Maya moved closer to his desk. If I'm going to survive in your world, I need to understand it. All of it. Minjun pulled out his chair, gesturing for her to sit. Then he spent the next 2 hours explaining the intricate web of alliances, rivalries, and power structures that defined organized crime in Los Angeles. He showed her ledgers with coded entries, explained how money moved through legitimate businesses to hide illegal profits, detailed the various operations his family ran from import-export to protection services to information brokering. We don't deal drugs, don't traffic people, Don't prey on the vulnerable, Minjun emphasized. Those are my father's hard lines. We protect businesses from other criminals, move goods that customs deems illegal but aren't actually harmful, provide loans to people banks won't touch. Gray area operations, not black. And when someone doesn't pay back those loans, then Junho or I have a conversation with them. Sometimes conversations get physical. Sometimes they get resolved peacefully. Depends on the person. Minjun met her eyes. I won't lie and say we're saints. We've hurt people who threatened us or our interests. But we're not monsters either. Maya absorbed this, trying to reconcile the man sitting across from her with the reality of what he was describing. Have you ever killed anyone? Minjun was quiet for so long Maya thought he wouldn't answer. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. Once, 3 years ago, a rival gang member came after my father with a knife. I shot him to protect my family. He died in the ambulance. His hands clenched on the desk. I still see his face sometimes when I close my eyes. The raw honesty in his voice made Maya's chest ache. I'm sorry you had to do that. Don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for him. He was 19, stupid, following orders from someone who didn't care if he lived or died. I took away his chance to be anything else. Minjun stood abruptly, walking to the window. That's the reality of this life, Maya. Good people do terrible things because the alternative is worse. If you can't handle that, tell me now. Maya thought about the bullet in her shoulder, about the choice she'd made without thinking to protect a stranger. I threw myself in front of gunmen to save your father. I'm not afraid of difficult choices. I'm just trying to understand the man I'm about to marry. Minjun turned, and in the dim light of his office, he looked younger, more vulnerable than she'd ever seen him. I'm not a good man. I'm not even sure I'm a decent one. I've done things I'm not proud of, things that keep me up at night. But I protect what's mine, and once we're married, you and Sophia will be mine. That's the only promise I can make you. Then make one more promise, Maya said. Promise you'll always be honest with me. Even when the truth is ugly, even when it's easier to lie. I can handle reality. I can't handle being kept in the dark. Minjun crossed the room, stopping just in front of her. For the first time since they'd met, he reached out and took her hand, his grip firm and warm. I promise. No lies, no hiding. If you want the truth, I'll give it to you. Then I promise the same. We're partners in this, Minjun, equal partners. Equal partners, he echoed, and something that might have been hope flickered in his eyes. The days before the wedding blurred together in a chaos of preparations. Maya practiced bowing until her back ached, memorized faces and names until they swam together, learned enough Korean phrases to be polite, if not fluent. Sophia thrived in her new environment, making friends with the estate staff, playing in gardens that seemed endless to her child's eyes. Dr. Chun visited twice, both times reporting continued improvement that made Maya want to weep with relief. Junho became a constant shadow, overseeing security with an intensity that bordered on paranoid. He drilled Maya on emergency procedures, made her practice activating the panic button until she could do it without thinking, showed her safe rooms hidden throughout the estate. Choi's people have been spotted watching the house, Junho said during one session. They're gathering intelligence, looking for weaknesses. After the wedding, you'll have a full security detail whenever you leave the property. I'm going to have bodyguards following me around. You're going to be alive, Junho corrected. There's a difference. The night before the wedding, Maya couldn't sleep. She wandered through the quiet house, eventually finding herself in the garden where moonlight painted everything silver. She wasn't alone. Mr. Kong sat on a bench near the koi pond, a glass of whiskey in his hand. Nervous? He asked as Maya approached. Terrified, she admitted, sitting beside him. Tomorrow I marry your son. Tomorrow I become part of your family. Tomorrow my entire life changes forever. Mr. Kong nodded slowly. I remember the night before I married Minjun's mother. I was 23, she was 21, our families had arranged everything. I was convinced I was making a terrible mistake. He smiled at the memory. But then I saw her walking down the aisle, and I knew. She was the bravest, kindest, strongest woman I'd ever met. Loving her was the easiest thing I ever did. Minjun said losing her almost destroyed you. It did destroy me for a while. Grief makes you reckless, makes you forget what matters. Mr. Kong took a sip of whiskey. But I never regretted loving her. Even knowing the pain that would come, I would choose her again. Love is worth the risk, Miss Rodriguez. This isn't a love marriage. Not yet, Mr. Kong said. But Minjun is more like his mother than he knows. He pretends to be cold, practical, but underneath he feels everything deeply. Give him time. Give yourself time. Sometimes the best relationships start from the strangest circumstances. Maya wanted to believe him, wanted to think that maybe this arrangement could become something real. But she'd learned long ago not to count on fairy tale endings. What if it doesn't work? What if we can't make this believable? Then you'll still have my protection, and Sophia will still have her future, Mr. Kong assured her. but I think you'll surprise yourself. You're stronger than you know, Miss Rodriguez. Taking that bullet proved it. Everything since has just confirmed it. The wedding day dawned clear and bright, the kind of perfect California morning that felt like a movie set. Maya stood in her room, while Mrs. Park and the stylist worked on her hair and makeup, transforming her into someone she barely recognized. The fusion dress fit perfectly, white silk embroidered with golden Korean designs, elegant and powerful all at once. Sophia burst in wearing a flower girl dress, pink and poofy, and exactly what she dreamed of. Mommy, you look like a real princess. You look pretty beautiful yourself, baby. Maya pulled her daughter into a careful hug, mindful of not crushing either of their outfits. Are you ready for this? I get to throw flowers and wear a fancy dress and eat cake, Sophia said seriously. I was born ready. The ceremony took place in the estate's main garden, cherry blossoms drifting like snow through the air. Rows of chairs held maybe 50 people, all of them dressed formally, all of them watching Maya with expressions ranging from curious to hostile. She recognized faces from the photos Minjun had shown her, saw Junho standing stiff and alert near the front, spotted Mr. Kong in traditional Korean formal, were looking both proud and emotional. And then she saw Minjun. He stood at the altar in a black suit with subtle Korean design elements, looking impossibly handsome and impossibly nervous. When their eyes met across the garden, something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Solidarity in facing this together. Or perhaps just two people acknowledging they were about to jump off a cliff and hoping they'd survive the fall. The ceremony blended traditions, Korean rituals Maya had practiced mixed with Western elements she knew. She bowed when Mrs. Park had taught her, spoke her vows in halting Korean that made Min Jun's lips twitch with suppressed amusement, accepted the traditional wedding gifts from Mr. Kong with as much grace as she could muster. When the officiant finally pronounced them married and Min Jun was instructed to kiss his bride, he leaned in close, his breath warm against her ear. Just for show, he whispered. Then his lips touched hers, gentle and brief, and somehow more intimate than if he'd swept her into a passionate embrace. It was a promise of restraint, of respect, of understanding that this was theater for an audience that demanded proof. The reception was a blur of faces and names, of bowing and smiling until Maya's cheeks hurt. People approached to offer congratulations that felt more like assessments, studying her like a puzzle piece that didn't quite fit the picture. Some were warm, genuinely welcoming. Others were coldly polite, their disapproval barely masked. Through it all, Min Jun stayed close, his hand on her lower back or his arm around her shoulders, playing the devoted husband with surprising skill. You're doing great, he murmured during a brief moment alone. Half of them expected you to embarrass us. You're proving them wrong. Only half expected that. Maya asked wryly. The other half just expected you to run screaming. Min Jun's smile was real this time, warm and genuine. For what it's worth, I'm glad you didn't. Junho appeared at Min Jun's elbow, his expression tight. We have a problem. Lee Mi-sun just got a message. Choi's making a move tonight, hitting one of our warehouses. Min Jun's entire demeanor changed, the devoted husband vanishing and the businessman emerging. Which warehouse? The one in San Pedro. Textiles and electronics. He's sending a message, showing he can strike during our celebration. Junho glanced at Maya. You need to stay here with your bride. I'll handle it. No, Min Jun said firmly. This is too important. Maya, I'm sorry, I have to go. On our wedding night. Maya tried to keep her voice light, aware of people watching. On our wedding night, Min Jun confirmed. He took her hand, his grip apologetic. This is the life, Maya. Crisis doesn't wait for convenient timing. Maya thought fast, aware that how she handled this moment would set the tone for her entire future in this family. Then go. Protect what's ours. I'll handle things here. She stood on her toes, kissing his cheek. But come back safe. I didn't take a bullet for your father just so you could get yourself killed. Something flickered in Min Jun's eyes, surprise mixed with respect. I'll come back. I promise. She watched him leave with Junho, watched other men quietly follow, and turned to find the reception guests staring at her. Some with pity, some with calculation, all wondering how the new bride would handle being abandoned at her own wedding. Maya straightened her spine, channeling every ounce of strength her mother had taught her. She picked up her champagne glass and smiled at the crowd. My husband has business to attend to. While he's gone, please enjoy the celebration. After all, we have much to celebrate. New family, new beginnings, new alliances. She raised her glass. To the Kong family, and to loyalty that's worth protecting. The guests raised their glasses, and Maya saw approval in several faces, surprise in others. She'd just passed some kind of test without even knowing she was taking it. Mrs. Park appeared at her side. Well done. You handled that like you were born to this life. I was born to survive, Maya corrected. This is just another way of doing it. Hours later, after the guests had finally left and Sophia had been put to bed, Maya sat alone in her room, still wearing her wedding dress. The panic button pendant hung heavy around her neck, a reminder that her new life came with dangers her old one never had. She thought about Minjun somewhere in the city facing threats she couldn't fully imagine, about the choice she'd made to bind herself to this family, about the future stretching uncertain ahead. A soft knock at her door made her turn. Minjun stood there, still in his suit but disheveled now, a cut above his eyebrow and his knuckles bruised. "You're hurt," Maya said, standing quickly. "It's nothing." Junho took the worst of it. Minjun stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "We secured the warehouse." Choi's men retreated. No major losses on our side. And on their side, 3 in the hospital, 1 dead. Minjun's voice was flat, emotionless. "The one who died pulled a knife on Junho. I made a choice." Maya understood what he wasn't saying. "You killed him. I did what I had to do." Minjun sank into a chair, suddenly looking exhausted. "Welcome to marriage, Maya. This is what your wedding night looks like in my world. Violence and blood, and choices no one should have to make." Maya moved to him, gently examining the cut on his face. "You need this cleaned." "I need a shower and about 12 hours of sleep," Minjun said. "But I wanted to check on you first. Make sure you were okay." "Why wouldn't I be okay?" "Because I left you at our wedding. Because you had to face everyone alone. Because this whole day was supposed to be about us, and instead it became about the business." He looked up at her, and in his eyes she saw genuine regret. "You deserved better than this." "I knew what I was signing up for," Maya said softly. She wet a cloth from her bathroom and dabbed at his cut, ignoring his wince. "You told me crisis doesn't wait. I believed you. And for what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Showing weakness on our wedding day would have been worse than showing up late to our wedding night. Still, it wasn't fair to you." "Not much about this situation is fair to either of us," Maya pointed out. "But we're making it work. Tonight proved that. You protected the family. I held down the fort. We functioned as a team even when separated. That's something." Minjun caught her hand, stilling her movements. "You're remarkable. You know that. Most people would be having a breakdown right now. Instead, you're cleaning my wounds and talking strategy. Most people didn't grow up like I did," Maya said. "Crisis is just another Tuesday for me." They stayed like that for a moment, her hand in his, the space between them charged with something neither wanted to name. Finally, Minjun released her, standing slowly. "I should let you rest. It's been a long day." "Minjun," Maya called as he reached the door. "Thank you for coming back. For checking on me. You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." He turned, his expression serious. "We're married now, Maya. Partners, like we agreed. That means something to me, even if it started as a business arrangement. It means you matter. Your safety, your happiness, your peace of mind, they all matter." After he left, Maya finally removed her wedding dress and climbed into bed, her mind swirling with everything that had happened. She'd married a man she barely knew, joined a family built on secrets and violence, and somehow survived her first day in a world that should have terrified her. But as she touched the panic button pendant and thought about Minjun's bruised knuckles and Sophia sleeping safely down the hall, Maya realized something important. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was fighting. She was protecting. She was becoming something stronger than she'd ever been before. And maybe, just maybe, that was worth every risk she'd taken. What would you have done in Maya's position? Would you have stayed or run? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've made it this far in this incredible journey, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you're rooting for Maya and Minjun, and comment which moment shocked you the most. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.